Bonjour, everyone. Hi, this is Neshi Lokotz. Welcome to Star Nations Organization's main fan page, where we do a spiritual conversation around the card draw that I do in the morning. It's all about the energy that's most important for us to know about today, right? And then we have a conversation about it. So, welcome. Today is Sunday, March 10th. And today is a really, really happy day around here because it's publishing day for Star Nations magazine. So right after we get done with the live stream, I am going to publish the magazine. Yeah, I got a little bit started late because of that. Yeah, I was having to close out some of the windows that I was working with. Otherwise, we'd have too many windows open and too much bandwidth going to those kind of windows. And so it took me a little bit to close them out. So good afternoon, good evening, good morning, wherever you are. Happy Sunday. We just finished up another snowstorm last night. We didn't get a whole lot of snow. We got maybe 3 inches, maybe. We had more rain, and then on top of the rain, the snow. So, just a little bit of shoveling this morning, not much. It was more work with trying to get to put some salt down to thaw out the ice so it's not so slippery, especially on the stairs. Got to do that. Yeah. And so the funny thing around here is I forgot it was the time change, the spring forward time change for the summer. Honestly, I didn't remember it at all. Not until late last night. It was around 11 o'clock or 11:30 at night, and I'm finishing up with work and a conversation I had with one of my sisters. I was closing out my screens and shutting things down on my laptop, and Facebook was the last one that I logged out of and shut down. And there sat in the news feed a meme about the time change. I'm going, oh no, really? Because, I don't watch television really much at all. And if I do, it's about maybe a Netflix or a movie or something like that. And so, so I didn't see it. I went to bed. I didn't change any of the clocks. Paul was at a Rocky Mountain Elk Foundation banquet, and he was going to be coming in around midnight or so, or later, because of the roads, but he's the one who changed the clocks. The thing is since I didn't remember, I never said anything to my mom, and she never said anything to me during the day either. So this morning when she got up and she's all ready and dressed and ready to start her day, she sits down in her recliner to put her hearing aids in, right? And she looks up at the clock and she looks at me and she goes, did we change the time today? And I said, yeah, we did. And so then she got all flustered because, oh, I'm so late. And I said, no, you're not. You're not late at all. Because this is all an illusion, this time thing. I wish I could tell my body that, right? Because this is the time change that affects me the most. Yeah. And I know it's all in my mind, right, to create it. And so I try to talk myself down. It's all an illusion. So anyway, today is Sunday, and we're going to be talking about the card draw that I did today. Yeah, this morning, actually, very, very early, because I had to wait for Mom anyway. Let's see, it was 7 o'clock with the time change. So it was actually 6 o'clock. And so I pulled cards very early this morning. Before we get into that, though, I'm going to like and share the live stream, and I would invite you to do the same, if you wouldn't mind, to help us to let people know about us and the kinds of shows that we have. That's a nice thing, if you wouldn't mind. Even if you just share it with one friend, that's a good thing, right? And so here I'm going to do it to my news feed. And I do this every day, and I say, hey, friends, yeah, I'm live streaming, and I ask them to please join me. Yep, and I do it every day. Well, pretty much every day. All right. And just to let you know is that Stephanie, our social media manager, she has been very ill. She had a virus, And it actually, her little boy had it, and her roommate had it, and she's on the mend. She's getting better. Hopefully, she'll be back next week. This coming, like Monday, Tuesday, she'll be back. Yeah, she's been very sick. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to share over to the groups as well. And so I'm just going to say, hi, peeps. My peeps. And let them know I'm live streaming. Yeah, I'm just going to take a second and then to please join us. Here we go. I'm going to do the academy and the network. There, we're done. That's good. All right. And I haven't done this in a while. I'm going to show. I'm still down at the house broadcasting. I'm not up at the academy, and still half my stuff is still up there. And especially the cover for the card deck that we're using. But we do have the book, and it's called the Druid Animal Oracle is what we're using. And the authors are Stephanie and Philip Cargome. And the illustrator is Bill Worthington. They're all from the UK. And so we get a perspective from the cards, from the information from the UK, right? And also from the Druid perspective. And I have to tell you, I'm learning quite a bit, because when we started this, my knowledge of Druidry was like about this much, if that. Mervyn Kelly is the one who gifted me the card deck, and and he's a modern day Druid. He is also one of our show hosts here at Star Nations Radio Network in the live stream shows, and his show is From Star to Stone, which is coming up on Tuesday. But anyway, it's to me, it's broadening the perspective, right? It's not anything about changing anyone's belief systems or encouraging you to change your mind about things. It's just to give you some information. And if you end up doing that, that good on you, that you're looking at your belief systems and selecting the ones that are supporting you, right? So, I've learned a great deal. So who's all here? Julie Shumway Hill is here. Hello, Julie. Good to have you here. And Pat's here too. Hello, Pat. Nice to have you here. And Cindy Lynn is here. Hello, Cindy Lynn. Good to have you in the chat. And Pat says it affects my dog too. I can't tell you that it's affecting George, because he's pretty much the same. And we don't feed him by certain times of the day. He eats 3 times a day, and Paul feeds him in the morning, sometimes before he goes to work, and then I feed him at lunchtime. Anywhere between 11:30 and 12:30 or so, and a lot of times he doesn't eat. I'll put the food in his dish, and he's not hungry, so he doesn't eat until he's hungry. Same way with supper. And so I don't know if it's really going to affect George. It used to affect our older dogs, the other dogs that we had, because they were fed at certain times of the day. Yeah. And we didn't do that with George this time, because we noticed that when he was just a wee one, we would have food in his dish, and he'd go over and he'd look at it and he'd smell it, and stuff like that. And then he'd walk away. And pretty soon we'd say, "Where's George?" And he's sitting there eating his food because he got hungry, right? And so we've never really had an actual schedule for him. So I don't know. Can't totally tell you. Hey, Jocelyn's here too. Hello, Jocelyn. Good to have you in the chat. Yeah. All right. So the cards that we got today, we've had before. And the first one that came is this guy. We haven't had him in quite a while. Frog. Yeah. And, I love the artwork on these cards are really great, because here you see at the top of the card you see some mushrooms, right? Yeah, trees, stones. Then we get to the frog, and notice how his back legs, you right? He's got one in the water and three are up on a stone. And look how clear that water is. And over here by my finger is eggs, or unfertilized eggs, maybe. I don't know. Can't remember. We'll find out what the author says to us. Yeah. Frog. And we're going to get to hear them pretty soon, aren't we? Those tree frogs. Yeah, I know we're still, and sitting in a lot of snow, but spring really is not that far away. At least we're hoping. And so do you remember what it's like that first night that you notice that the frogs are singing, the tree frogs? Yeah. Just their sound, especially in the summertime, hearing them. Yeah. So, just as curiosity too, as you first look at this card, what first catches your attention, catches your eye? What pulls you into the card? What's the first thing you see? Because that, keep track of that piece, because that will tell you something as we go through the discussion, the chat about the card itself and the information coming from the author, right? Just notice it. And if you'd like to share it in the chat, that would be nice too. It starts the conversation. What's the first thing that catches your eye, pulls you in to the essence or the medicine of the frog, right? And for those that have been with me since we started this card deck, which is February 1st, we noticed something about the illustrator. Many of his cards have the animals only have one eye looking at or visible to us. And so this particular animal has only one eye that we can see. Yeah. It's fun. Hey, Mervyn Kelly's with us. Hello, Mervyn. He says, it seems the clocks have gone forward over there already. Yes. So Tuesday's show will be at 10 a.m. and 9 a.m. depending on where you are. Still 2 p.m. for me, though. Isn't that confusing? Isn't it? Yeah. Well, actually, we still keep the same times, same time frames. We don't change, when they actually start. It's just that people are hopefully will have adjusted their clocks by then. Yeah. So it's still 9 a.m. Eastern time. Still 9 a.m. Eastern. Yeah. Now there are some places here in the United States that do not change the time. Yeah. And I don't know how they adapt to it, because we don't, when we plan something, we don't change it because it's the time change. So like, if Julie comes in, Julie Hedges, she's in Indiana, and there's part of Indiana that doesn't change the time. And there's a part of Indiana that does. So I know why do we do this, right? There's a lot of theories out there about that time change. But let's look at this. Okay, I have to remember how to say his name in Gaelic. Okay, so the Gaelic word for frog is Losgann. Losgann. The Gaelic word for frog is Losgann. So we get to learn a little Gaelic too. Now, Philip Cargom, the author who's doing the writing about this, he says that these words are what associated with frog: sensitivity, medicine, hidden beauty, and power. Sensitivity, medicine, hidden beauty, and power. He says the card shows a common frog crawling from a pool in which lies frog spawn, traditionally considered a powerful medicine. To the right grows frogberry, now known as cranberry, and the frog's spindle or orchid. To the left, beneath the hanging willow leaves, grows toadstool mushrooms, which were once called frog stool. Huh. Well, that's interesting, because we just had cow yesterday, right? And cranberry was with cow too, and they were calling it cowberry or something like that. That's interesting. So the cranberry is over there on the side. Yeah. Hey, Valerie's here too. Hello, Valerie. Good to have you here. Good to see you in the chat. And so with frog, Losgann. Philip tells us that Losgann unites the elements of water and earth, bringing joy, delight, and healing in its singing and hopping, and leading you to the sacred spring from which you may be refreshed and renewed. Yeah. Says the frog possesses an extremely sensitive skin, considered magical by shamans. A companion of the rain spirits, the frog can help you develop your sensitivity to others, to healing, and to sound through your skin and your whole body and aura. Okay, so when I read that, I was thinking, I wonder, we could probably even call on frog, the medicine of frog, when we are learning about our gifts as an empath, and how he could possibly help us to maybe even to discern the energies that are coming through. Asking frog how to manage our empathic gift because of the sensitivity, right? Yeah, that's what I was thinking. There's many ways, right, as empaths that we can learn how to manage something that we sometimes don't initially see or sense as a gift. Many times, I know a lot of people who distance themselves from others because they just feel their energy so much, and sometimes it's almost debilitating, right? And so they'd rather remove themselves from that encounter. And I understand that. I get that. Kind of isolating themselves, and very selective of the people that they have around them, which is probably a good thing. But in that isolation, I think that we miss out on life, and we miss out on how to really master that gift that we call empaths, right? Being empathic. And so possibly frog could help us with that, because their skin is sensitive. And what did he say? The frog can help you develop your sensitivities to others, to healing, and to sound through your skin and your whole body and aura. So, we might have to kind of expand that meaning a bit, because the cards were published in 1996. Okay. And the chances are they probably wrote this even sooner than that. 96 was the publishing date. They may have been started working on it like even a year or two before that, or even longer, before they actually hit publishing, right? And so they were in a different energy field at the time that they wrote this. Now, a lot of things do carry over, but I think that we have to kind of take a look at some of the words and the meanings of the words, and sense how it could be interpreted today. And so when I looked at the words healing and to sound through your skin and your whole body and aura. So, we could actually look at how we take in information as empaths, right? We take it in, many of us take it in because of the emotions. We can feel their emotions. To some point, we can actually feel their thoughts, not necessarily read their actual thoughts, but to feel their emotions around their thoughts, right? And so maybe if we expand that a bit, we can really talk about how Frog can help us learn how to master that gift that we have called empathy or empathic gift, right? So we don't necessarily have to isolate ourselves. We can learn how to master how to allow certain energies through, or when certain energies do come through, even though we may have our boundaries up and it comes through, what does that mean, right? For me, it means that it's something that I have to pay attention to, because it came through the protection and through the boundaries. And so it's something that I have to pay attention to. Yeah. And so when it does, we can call on Frog to help us, especially when we're first learning how to master that gift. Those early stages. Yeah. As just looking at the people who are in the chat, I think I know the answer to this, but I'm going to ask it anyway. Is how many people in the chat are empaths? Yeah. We tend to attract empaths to Star Nations. It'd be interesting to know. And really, how Frog can help us with that. The companion of rain spirits. Rain spirits. Yeah. Valerie says, yep, her too, here. Julie says, I am. Yep. And Jocelyn, I believe I am. Mm-hmm. Yeah. Valerie's saying yes. Yeah. So here's my suggestion. When you have a bit of quiet time, okay, whether you can fit it into your meditation, or even if it's just sitting quietly with a cup of tea, and is to get quiet, get grounded, and then call to the Frog, this medicine of Frog, and ask how can you help me with my gift as an empath? Can you help me? Can you show me how I can carry this medicine in a good way and still feel healthy and good myself, right? And it's also a question you can actually ask your spiritual team too, because they're able to help you with that as well. And this is a good one if you're just really realizing that, oh my gosh, this explains why I feel what I feel, and didn't know that there was even a word for it, right? And for those of us who've been around the block a few times with it, it'd be interesting to see what Frog can show us to deepen that mastery, to maybe take it into the depth of when we go from one energy field to another, when we go from one dimension to another. How does our empathic gift, how can we work with it when we're working out of the fourth dimension, or out of the third dimension, or out of the fifth dimension? Because most of us, we shy away from the third dimension, don't we? It's just too much, man. It's just too much. And a good example of that is just walk through Walmart. Yeah, between the fluorescent lights and all the people in there. Yeah, and so that is a way to be able to um, deepen your knowledge, your wisdom about the gift that you carry. And it's not like we can just put the gift down, right? It's not like we can say, "Oh, no, that's not me. I don't want it to be me. I'm going to walk away from it." It doesn't work that way. It doesn't. You think that you're turning it off or turning it down or putting it on mute. Um, and really what you end up doing is you shut down your own emotions. And when we do that, um, we kind of close the door, or no, I don't even say that. It's not really closing the door. It's kind of like putting a dampener or a wet blanket over our own intuition. Yeah. We don't access it as easily. Let's put it that way. We can still access it, but it's not easy. And then we start questioning ourselves, doubting our own intuition, our own guidance system. So we don't ever really shut it down completely. It's always there as that gift for the empath, and we never shut down our intuition either. It's just we make it harder for ourselves to access it, right? And so we're really not doing ourselves any favors. And if that empath is a gift that we came in with, and we're running away from it, hiding from it. Come on, you know that we've all done that at one point or another. Is that that's an aspect of ourselves that we're denying. Yeah. Yeah. So maybe Frog can help us with that. Because take a look. He's got 1 foot in the water and 3 on land, right? And you know that water represents emotion, represents the feminine. And so that maybe he can help us with that. And even if we've, like I said, been around the block a few times and we recognize our gift, we actually even utilize our gift, right? Apply it. Maybe frog medicine can help us to deepen that mastery of it. Like I said, to be able to apply it no matter what dimension our physical body is in. Yeah. Jocelyn says, the lights at Walmart bother me. Me too. I could even hear the hum of the balusters, in those fluorescent lights. And there's my mother-in-law, it's really hard for her to be in there. Yeah. And that is a good example though, isn't it? I could have used an airport, but I think that most of us can relate to Walmart. As an empath, walking through there is like running a gauntlet, don't you think? It's like running the gauntlet, especially when you're in the pharmacy section. Pharmacy section, or the depending on how they're set. I think they're all set up pretty much the same, right? For me, it's also like back in the refrigerator area, and I think it's because of all the energy coming off from the machines, and so it's like being in a casino, kind of a lot of chaotic, kind of frenetic kind of energy through there. Yeah, but the pharmacy section, definitely. You got to go in with shields up. Julie says, if I go to Walmart, I go really early in the morning, less people. Well, that's a good one. Yeah, never go on Saturday. Never, no matter what time it is, never go on Saturday. I did that once or twice. That's why Paul does a lot of the shopping, grocery shopping. And Jocelyn says, "Yep." And the clothing section. Well, yeah, that too. That too. Yeah, I don't know what it is for that back section for me. Um, that's where the dairy is, and some of the deep freezer sections, in the center. I don't know what it is. Never spent much time with it. I do know that Walmart for me is a bit of a challenge. Yeah, I go into practice. Do you ever do that? No, 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 no. Really, I know you guys say no. I wouldn't do that. No, it's a good place to practice in. Um, when you're learning about your protection, different methods that you're using for protection. Because if you're using your protection at home and you never really go to places like Walmart, you never really know how effective your protection field is, right? Yeah. And you can always do those adjustments and go, oh darn, that one didn't work. Let's see how this one does, and you can test out the different methods, the different techniques of protection fields. Now, see, I have my Merkaba is activated. So when I go in there, there's energies that still come through, but those are energies that I'm meant to notice. So when I'm in the pharmacy and I get this, like I'm walking through Jello, or it's really kind of thick in there, or I can feel someone's anxiety, and I turn to look to see who it is. Trying to sense to say, okay, where is this coming from? I'm talking to my team, and is this something I have to pay attention to? And sometimes it's people I know, and so I can go up and I can talk to them and ask them how they're doing. Sometimes they're waiting for a medication, so I hear about how they're feeling, and I can share with them, about different oils or in conjunction with their medication, that kind of thing. I know. You have to only do it if you really want to, right? Is to go through there, and it's a training field. Let's put it that way. It's a place to train. To be able to, we don't master a gift if we're not using it. If we're not using it, mastery comes in its use, and the wisdom comes in the application and the experience that we have in that application. Right? Yeah. All right. So frog. Hopefully, now I haven't used frog in this way. It's very interesting, though. That there's a possibility that he can help us with that. Is understanding our gift as an empath and feeling those emotions that come from others, and and especially when we're first starting out, and how to discern, how to tell the difference between what's your emotion to something and what someone else's. Right? Yeah. Yeah, Jocelyn says makes me ill. Yeah, yep. It can. It certainly can. Before I had my activated Merkaba, definitely. I'd walk in, I could, that's I've got my list. I get what's on my list. I'm in and I'm out. Right? Yeah. I didn't hang around. I didn't shop. I didn't go through and look at things. It wasn't fun. It's not fun. But with the Merkaba field, I can stay in there a lot longer, and I can notice things, that's for sure. Or have some conversation with somebody I don't know. Did that in the card section, the greeting cards. I was getting some cards for my mom, birthday cards and sympathy cards and that kind of thing. And there's this lady who was standing there, and we were both looking at the cards, and I looked at her and I said, who would ever think that it would be so difficult to select one card? She goes, I know what you mean. And when she starts talking to me about it, and she starts telling me about the kind of card that she's looking for is a sympathy card, and who had passed away, and how it was her best friend, and and I heard the whole story about her best friend having cancer, and when her friend made the decision to stop taking her medication because she was tired of it, and knowing that she was going to be leaving, and what her friend said and did, I heard the whole story. Yeah, standing there with her. And when she was done, she looked at me and she says, thank you for that. I actually feel a little bit better. And I said, well, that's good. Here, look at this card. And I selected one for her, and she goes, aw. And I said, well, why don't you get a card for her husband too? Just that you're thinking of him, and hang on to it and give it to him like, a month from now or 2 months from now, because he'll need it by then. So, we're able to go in places like that to actually share our gift. And if we're not in a position to be able to even be in there ourselves, yeah. Whoever thought of using Walmart as a testing field, a testing ground, right? I don't know. If you choose to connect with the medicine of frog and ask the questions about your empathic ability and how he can assist you in learning more about it, learning how to use it, whatever it is that you're going to ask him, please share it with us, right? It'd be helpful to do that. Now, we know that through these cards, the reverse information is also very informative. And although the card came to me in the upright position, looking at the reverse information is helpful. So here's what the author says about the reverse. He says, drawn reverse, this card suggests that you are learning how to embrace difficult circumstances. The frog that you must marry may well turn out to be a prince. The circumstances you have chosen to accept, whilst apparently unappealing or difficult, may well bring you rich rewards in the end. Remember that the frog brings medicine, and medicine brings healing. I like that sentence. Remember that frog brings medicine, and the medicine brings healing. I like that. Yeah, let me see if there was anything else. He also says that the frog is an ally who brings the blessing of the water spirits, the healing and blessings of rain and purification. The frog also brings its own medicine and was seen as a healing messenger from the mother goddess. The mother goddess. Yeah, and there's an old it's a fairy tale actually about the princess who was kissing the frogs, right, trying to find her prince. And so that's why they have this the hidden beauty, right? Because frogs aren't exactly stunningly beautiful, right? But what they have hidden is the medicine they carry and the power through that medicine. So basically, they're also telling us to look beyond the surface, right? To look beyond the surface of what something looks like. And we could probably even relate that back to our empath again, right? Because especially when you first realize that you have this as a gift, many times we confuse what we're feeling with we think that it's our own emotions, our own issues that are going on, and we're actually feeling someone else's, right? And so learning how to discern that. So on the surface, it might look like it's ours, But when we look at it a little bit deeper and we realize that, wait a minute, that's not mine. That's not mine. It belongs to somebody else. And then who does it belong to, right? If we need to know that. Sometimes we just have to say, that's not mine. Let it go. All right. So the second card that came to support this is Crane. Isn't she pretty? Crane. Gaelic word for crane is Corr. See in the background? In the background, we have the moon. The moon. Crane. Standing on one foot's in the water, and one foot's in the air. And if you look in the background again, see that in the background? It looks like maybe, is that a cave or a dolmen? In the background. There's water again. Right? Isn't it pretty? So the words that are associated with crane is secret knowledge, patience, and longevity. And cranes also mate for life. Where frogs are very prolific, right? That frog spawn down at the bottom, which is, supposed to be big medicine. They have a lot of children, lots and lots. Whereas the crane has one mate, and they have maybe one or two children a season. Offspring. Let's see. The author says about crane is that the card shows crane fishing in a pool. Its legs are crossed to show the ogham letter muin, and it gazes into the water patiently, waiting for sight of a fish. Behind the pool is a cave entrance to the underworld, and in the evening sky the full moon is rising. In the foreground grow bitter vetch and bloody crane's bill. He says that the Corr brings the qualities of patience and perseverance, and that it also conveys the capacity to be focused and to be able to concentrate without distraction. It brings an ability to guide others into the underworld. The ability to work in the underworld, the crane symbolizes arcane science or secret knowledge, which in the Druid tradition is represented by the Ogham script, the tree language of Druidry. In its widest sense, learning this language involves learning to read the book of nature. If it were drawn in the reverse, the crane stands alone for hours on end, simply observing and patiently waiting. But it is also able to join its colleagues to fly in formation or to dance together. You may need to learn the right balance between being alone and working with others. Spending too much time alone can create feelings of isolation and separation. Yeah, spend a while looking at your life to see whether you give yourself enough time of having both experiences. The shadow side of the crane is manifested as harshness, meanness and nagging, and complaining disposition. If you find these qualities showing sometimes in your behavior, see if you can experience the deeper aspects of the crane, in which it becomes an animal of the goddess as crone or wise woman. Wise woman. Okay. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to show you both cards together. Okay, so remember, crane is supporting the message coming from Frog. Okay. So looking at both, sensing, feeling, seeing, the energy of them coming together to support what Frog is coming to tell us. And how they're looking at each other, right? And how I have the cards positioned, somewhat looking at each other. Both in water, both representing the goddess in some fashion. Yeah. Hidden beauty. Looking at past the surface, past what's on top, and looking deeper. Whereas the crane holds the ability, or symbolizes the arcane science, the secret knowledge. Very interesting, isn't it? Looking at them together and getting the feeling, that energy of what Crane is supporting, what Frog is letting us know about. And the fact that this time, because we've had him before, this time we're taking that direction of the empath, and going to him to help us with the ability. See, it says he's a companion of the rain spirits. The frog can help you to develop your sensitivity to others, to healing, and to sound through your skin and your whole body and aura. So as empaths, we're taking in that information, right? Taking in the information that comes to us as emotions, as feelings. And it depends on how you bring in information. One of your clears, how do you bring it in, right? Is it the knowing, that clear sentient? Do you get to the pictures, the clairvoyance? How is it coming in? It's getting to know yourself pretty good, really, because the crane can actually help us with how we're receiving the information. And how we receive it can help us to master it, how to discern it, and how to apply it. And to do all of that, sometimes it takes patience. Learning. Yeah. I'm going to show you the crane again. See if I can get my camera to focus on it. On the cave in the background, do you see those pillars? They have scrolls on them, or spirals etched into them. And a couple of those remind me of Newgrange swirls, energy swirls. Yeah. Another good question for you guys is that how many in the live chat, how many guys already have frog as a power animal or as a totem? Or even crane as a power animal or a totem? Because if you do, then you connect with them and you ask them, show me how to do this. How do I use my gift in such a way that I'm in service to others as well as to myself? Right? Yeah. And for those of us that find workarounds so we don't have to go to Walmart, even when you're shopping online, like on Amazon.com. We can still use our gifts as an empath to a certain extent. To a certain extent. Yeah. Oh, Jocelyn's saying Crane is special to me. Yeah. How so, Jocelyn? Do you see Crane in the, like when you're driving along, or do you have pictures of Crane? Do you collect Crane items? Because if you do that, certainly could be either totem or power animal. And remember, and for me, there's different ways of looking at this, but for me, a totem is like is an energy, a spirit that is in your life for your entire life. Okay, kind of like your guardian angel in a way. Whereas power animal, they're here to help us with our current life lesson or our intention, right, to do something. And so they come in to aid us. And when we've completed that, then they leave. And the next one comes in for the next experience that we're looking at. And so the power animal can come and go, right, depending on what we're working on. Yeah. Jocelyn said they dance and sing, then one flew away. Oh my gosh, you saw the mating ritual? That is something. That is really something. Not many people get to see that. Where I used to live, down south of me, about an hour or so, down near Madison, there's a little town called Baraboo. And that's where I was born. And in Baraboo, there is the International Crane Foundation. International Crane Foundation. And they have cranes from all over the world there, because their mission is to help save cranes. Because there was a time when many of the cranes were going extinct. And so they're part of protection, right? And in that part of the protection, so they have mating pairs there, and but they also do a lot of study and research, and they travel to their home environments to study their home environments as well, so they can replicate them as best they can in Baraboo. And so they have some of the mating dances recorded, yeah, taking a video of it, because there's a famous one where the director of the International Crane Foundation was trying to have a female crane actually lay an egg, right? To actually to be receptive for her to have a baby. And the male crane, it just wasn't doing it for her. And so the director actually tried to learn the dance that the male crane was doing, and so that there was some competition, right? Competition. And it turned out to be a very famous film, because that was, for some people, it was the first time they'd ever seen the mating dance of a crane. So Jocelyn, that's, that is a really great memory. And chances are that crane is a power animal for you. Yeah. Yeah. And she says that came to me when my mom passed away. And that's when they danced and sang for her. Oh, that is so sweet. That is so sweet. Okay. Jocelyn, if you'd like, I can douse for you and to validate, confirm for you whether the crane is a totem or a power animal. But I need your permission first, okay? So if you can let me know. And it's okay if you don't want me to. Don't worry about it. I'm just offering. If you don't want me to, that's all right, because, we are on a public form. But if you'd like me to, I would be happy to do that for you right now. And so just let me know, and we'll do that before we end the show, okay? So I do believe that Frog is here to deliver a message to us about our gifts, especially if you're an empath. And that Crane is here to support that. It's a way to be able to and even if you're not an empath, okay, although we all are intuitive, every single one of us. I think that if what they're asking us to do is take a look at the gift that we would like to work the most with, and to take it deeper, to actually begin the mastery of it if you haven't already. And that Crane is here to help to do that. That's what I'm wondering. Yeah. Okay, which part, Mervyn, which part did you miss? Because I'll see if I can repeat it. I don't know if I can, but I'll try. All right, and Jocelyn's saying, yes, you can. All right. Okay, we'll do that for you right now before we end with the book. Okay. I'll move my camera down a bit so you can see what I'm doing. Like about right there. Okay. So I'm talking to my spiritual team, and I'm asking, is this pendulum sufficiently clear to douse with? Yes. Okay, thank you. And can you tell me the truth on that? Yes. All right, thank you. Am I worthy to douse today? Yes. Thank you. All right. Thanks. And is it in the highest good that I douse for Jocelyn Yoakum? I hope I said your name right, Jocelyn. Yes. Okay. Thank you. And is it in the highest good that I douse for her regarding Crane? Yes. Thank you. And do I have permission from her high self to do this dowsing? Yes. All right. And can you tell me the truth on that? Yes. Okay. Thank you. So, is the crane a power animal for Jocelyn? No. Okay. Thank you. Is the crane a totem for Jocelyn? Yes. It's a big yes. Okay. So Jocelyn, in my the way that I understand it, and there's other ways too. There's more than one path, right? Is that a totem? Let me ask: Is Crane a birth totem for Jocelyn? A birth totem. Okay, so this crane came in with you at birth, which means that the crane is going to be with you forever until you leave your physical body. Okay. Yeah. And so my suggestion is that you can, if you want, you can do some research. You can find out, which particular crane if you want, because there's a lot of them. There's a lot of cranes. And then when you find out, which one is the one that is the closest to you, and then just study them. What is their habitat? When do they have their families, their children? Where do they live, right? Do they migrate? Where do they migrate to or from? Get to know them, because you can draw. They're offering their medicine to you, their spirit to you, so that when you come across something like with your mom passing, that you can call them in and ask them for assistance, right? Now you can talk to them anytime and ask them anything. Nothing is too small or too big. Okay. Yeah. All right. So Mervyn is asking the totem animal spirit part. Okay. So in my tradition, okay, Mervyn, is that the totem is something that is a part of us from our very beginning in this physical life. So comes in with us at birth and stays with us our entire life until we walk on. All right. So for instance, and for me in our language, it's called a dodem. And the dodem for me isn't an animal, it's thunder. Okay. So so it stays with me my entire life. Doesn't matter if I get married, doesn't matter if I divorce, doesn't none of that matters. That it's with me my entire life. And so as an animal totem for me is a wolf. And my birth totem is an owl. So I've got two. If you count the thunder, it's three. So it's something, it's an energy or a medicine that stays with you from the time you come into your physical existence until you leave the physical existence. And for me, the power animal is an animal that comes in to help us to learn the life lesson that we're working on, the experience that we're having. And so we can turn to that power animal for assistance, like draw on their characteristics to help us through that and to get to the other side of it, which is the gift, right? The wisdom that we're going to gain from that. And once we receive that gift of that wisdom, we've worked it through, we've got through it, then they can leave. They leave and go on to another experience of their own. And then another power animal will come in to help us with our next experience. Yeah. So that's the explanation. All right. You're welcome, Mervyn. You're welcome, Jocelyn. And if you want a little bit more discussion about that, you can just PM me, okay? And we'll have a nice chat about that one. Or you can do it in the Academy closed group, and so you might be able to help others that are maybe have the same totem, or they're wondering about totems themselves. Okay, well, we're at that hour since I started a little bit late. Thank you for being with me this afternoon. I appreciate it, and I appreciate those who will be watching the recorded version of this. Thank you so much. And for those who are watching the recorded, I would also ask you to like and share the recording with someone to help them, get the information that they're possibly looking for. Yeah. And so this week, we got a big lineup for you guys, huge this week. Today, we start with the publication of the March issue of the Star Nations magazine. I'm doing that right after we get done with the live stream here. And then we start off Tuesday with Mervyn Kelly with his show From Star to Stone. And that's at 9 a.m. Eastern Time. And he's going to be talking to us about and sharing about stories and song, the ancient and the modern, into the modern. And so he's asking us to bring with us our favorite stories and songs so that we have a conversation about those things. Well, I'm going to be there because you know how I feel about Mervyn Kelly's storytelling. I'm going to be there. And then at noon is Polly Jo's show, Chakra Sessions, and please join her. She's celebrating her second anniversary here at Star Nations, second anniversary of Chakra Sessions, and she's doing some giveaways and something special she's going to be sharing with us about information, spiritual information. So that's noon Eastern. And then Tuesday night is my weekly show, Communications from Home, and I'm going to be sharing with you about the March issue of the magazine, the backstory, and the highlighted articles. Okay, and I got to tell you, yeah, Mercury retrograde was a very interesting trip with this one, so I'm going to share about that a bit. Okay, and on Wednesday at 4 p.m. is Eastern Time is Nature Adventures with Minnie Kansman and myself. And we're going to be talking to you and sharing with you about the fifth element. It's going to be a good conversation. So come and join us for that. And at 7 p.m. Eastern Time is Polly Jo LeBay's show, Soul Connections. And that's an evening of healing and divine messages. It's a good one. If you guys have ever experienced it, you know what I'm talking about. If you haven't, And if you're looking at an healing or releasing something that you've been working on, you might want to join us, because you come with your own intention for that healing, and your spiritual team, and you work on it, supported by Polly Joe and hers. It's a powerful night. It really is. And then on Thursday at 4 p.m. is Life Wisdom with Ed Langdon. And Ed is going to be talking to us about the law of attraction and how we're creating our life. Yeah. And doing some tapping to let go of past issues, the past, just in general, the past, to be able to be more in the present. And he's also taking questions. He's going to be doing some channeling work. And if you have a question for him, you can contact him at his fan page at Life Wisdom with Ed Langdon. And we're going to put the link in the comments here, so you guys have that. You can send him your question, or you can ask the question in the chat. Okay. All right. So I told you, lots going on this coming week. Yeah, well, you're welcome, Jocelyn. You're welcome. And Mervin's saying, just check on the time. It's 8 p.m. here. We haven't changed our clocks yet. I know, it can be a confusing time. All right, so enjoy the rest of your Sunday, and we'll see you back here tomorrow afternoon for the live stream, the daily live stream, and the card draw information, okay? Baba Mina, that means in Potawatomi. Until we meet again. Love you guys.